So I just downloaded something on Pinterest. Is it Pinterest? I think I downloaded. Let me make sure that it's downloaded. Okay. Okay. So we are going to be covering based following that stops the timetable we left last time. We are going to be covering this these topics or these parts of the. Let me break that down. Good. Okay, so these are the things we are going to be covering today, just for today. We'll be talking on pen tools and the curves. So we are going to be discussing on more shapes. Then we'll also see how to create color palettes and how to use gradient to. Yep, you say?
So okay.
Okay, so how to use gradient to, and probably working with layers. So I'm going to reset my workspace into the essential default. So I go to Windows. You can see what I'm clicking now, all the stuff.
Yes, I can see.
Okay. So, but in case you maybe have network issues, I'm also recording so that I can be able to send it to you after the class. So I'll reset my workspace. Reset Essential Classic here in short. So reset it. Most of the things here have reduced. The layers here have already reduced. Or panels, sorry, have reduced. So what I'm going to be doing now is that we're going to start with the pen tool. Now the pen tool is right over here. It's like the third one under the first line. So we are going to choose on the pen tool and we are going to be creating this particular design using the pen tool. It's supposed to be simple, given that you did the last one and then you did it very well. So let's place this at the center. Then we can lock it. There's a shortcut for it. The shortcut is either Control 2 or you can go to Object and you go to Lock here. So you see Control 2 here. So that's lock it. But before we lock it, we reduce the opacity so it doesn't overshadow our design. So lock it, Object, Lock, Selections, Control 2. So it's locked. You can't move it here like that. Then we use the pen tool. Go to pen tool. Then you can start from any point. If you want, you can start from a sharp point here. You click on the sharp point, come to here, click on them. So all these things, I think all these ones already should be like very simple. And as you said, you know
Yes.
how to use Curvature for. So yeah. Good. And yeah. So I think it's very simple. Once you just complete the whole, it automatically connects and then you have your application. So it's very simple, straight to the point. So pen tool is, as I said, it's like very straightforward and simple. The only complication you might be having using pen tool is when you are beginning to make curves. So let me introduce this guy here. Place it at the center. So this align should be here as long as you're using Essential Classic. This align here should be there. Anytime you need it, you just use it. So scale that up. What I'm holding is if you want to scale up and you want it to scale from the middle or from the center, you hold on Shift and Alt. So once you drag, it will scale from the center and make it proportional when you are scaling. So reduce your opacity also to about 20. Then we lock it. Control 2. Control 2. So it's locked now. So in this case, we can use the pen tool to create this. Let's use the pen tool to create this first shape here, and then we'll be able to work on the rest. So if I'm using the pen tool, I could click on this part and come here. So I click and drag. In this case, most times you have to find the center. So we click and drag just straight. Then you come here also and you click. You do the same thing here. Click and drag. And then you do the same thing. So that's the shape. It's been created. Let's make it black. And then we can rotate it at angle 90. I think that's angle 90. So use the rotation tool. This is the rotation tool here. You can click on this. Hold on Alt, then click. Then you can add 90 degrees and make a copy, then duplicate. So that's how you can use pen tool and also the rotation tool to create this stuff. So it's the same thing too. Here you can also use the pen tool. Sir?
I said, okay.
Yeah, you can also use the pen tool to create an inverse of that. I'm using Curvature to the next one. You can use the pen tool. So when you click here, you come to the center here, you click and drag, you come, you click the same thing, you click and you drag, not too much. And the same, click and drag. So turn off the fill, then you also click and drag and complete. So that's how you have that. So now let's go into using the curvature tool. Now the curvature tool is like the perfect curve tool. Instead of using the pen tool and looking for where is the center to join curves, you can just use the curvature tool and it will help you to do all those work. So instead of clicking and dragging the curvature tool, you just click, continue clicking and stuff like that. So let's work on that. Let's try and do the same thing. This is the same thing like this here, but I want to use the curvature tool to do that one. So let's zoom in here and select the curvature tool. It's just close to the pen tool. Click on that. Then you could click here. If you click here, automatically creates the curves for you. So it tries to, your machine tries to understand the next shape you are going to. As long as you are using that tool, it's doing its calculation and seeing that you are trying to walk through a path. So once you click on that one, you could click on this tool and you could click here. But it's not going to give you a perfect shape like that. So for you to get all the sharp points here, you have to double click. So once you double click, it just goes straight. So in this case now you can click here. Then once you come to this point, you can double click, and it gives you that perfect shape. So let me zoom in so you see what I'm doing. Double click, yeah. I think. Yep. Yeah, so it gives you that perfect shape. Yeah, so it gives you that perfect shape. Let me redo it again so you see what I did the first time. Now I'm going to do it for, let me do it for the one under here. Is that when you go to here, if you can start at any point, if you click on here and you come to probably maybe the center of the shape and you click, automatically it creates a straight line. But your next point will determine whether it's a curve or is a straight line. So if I go straight, it will continue going straight. But if I try to move, automatically to create a curve, it will try to predict my next, you understand? So it gives you a curve. So when you come to this point, remember it's going to be a sharp edge like this. This ending point here will be a sharp edge like this because it's like two of them are joining together. So here, that you know is a sharp point, you double click. Then when you double click, it automatically goes back to a straight line. It doesn't give you a curve. But if you don't double click and you just click once, if you want to click here, it will assume that you're trying to make a curve again. So that's one thing with the curvature tool. For sharp points, you double click. For curves, just normal click. And you can click here and also come back here and double click because it's a sharp point. And that's how you get your shape. Then how to get this, you just make a 90 degree by the 90 degrees here. So hold on your Alt. Remember your rotation tool is here. You hold on your Alt and you click and it creates that one and you make a copy. So that's how you get that shape there. So you can also do that for this one too, make a curve like this. So once you go back to your curvature tool, once you click on the start point, you click on this point and you click on the end point, you're going to automatically create that curve. So remove the fill and you add a stroke to it. Yeah, so something like that. So that's how to do that one.
Can you do this one again?
Okay,
Can
this
you do
one.
this one again?
This one. Okay.
My network went off, so I did not get down.
Okay. So what the curvature tool, the start point, the center point, and the end point. Like that's just
Okay.
it's very straightforward in that. So I think that one basically explains the curvature tool. So we are going to be discussing the next one is working with colors. We have discussed the pen and the curvature tool. So we are going to be working with colors. The Bezier curves is called the curvature tool. So we are going to be work.
This thing is recorded.
Yes, it's been recorded. Yeah.
Okay, so you can start.
No, sure, no problem. So before I continue, under the pen tool, we have other things to add anchor points or maybe to other tools. Then we have to delete anchor points. So anchor points are like the points you get. Let me go here. So the points you get here are called anchor points. Those sides are called the anchor points. So if you want to add more anchor points to a particular, probably you want to add an anchor point here, you will come to this place, right click, and you see add anchor point. And when you click there, there's an anchor point that has been added. So you can adjust the shape to anything you want here. So that's what anchor points do. So delete anchor points too. If you select delete anchor point and you delete this point, it automatically deletes that side. The same thing. Then for this anchor point too is you can adjust the anchor point to create a curve with it. So probably after you have done you've placed your anchors, you could click on them using the tool. Bless you. You could click on the tool and try and adjust them to maybe have an irregular shape if you want to. So that's one thing also with the anchor point tool. So that's what they can do. Then we go to colors. More when you start working on other things, you begin to see how the anchor points will basically work for you very well. Then we have working with colors. Now, first of all, I'm going to show you how to create color palettes because I think that's the main thing that you want to do. The main thing that you should learn how to do, creating color palettes. You can do that by just having two colors. You could use you can create a monochrome, stuff like that, or using two colors you could create multiple colors, multiple color palettes, or multiple colors for your color palette. So let me just go online and just choose for two random colors. Yeah, it's two random colors, and I go to images. Let me see any color that will come out. Let me just say I choose this one. I could copy the image, come here, paste the image. So I have three colors, but I'm going to use only two. Let me draw two shapes here. One, and draw on it and duplicate the other one there. So I'll use my color picker here. This is the color picker tool, or the eyedropper, sorry. Color picker also. Select that one as that color, and you can select this one as this color. So I'm going to use just these two to create like four colors. You understand? So there should be four there. So I'm going to use what they call the blend tool. I can come to object, I can go to blend, I could go to make blend. Now, make blend is it's trying to join two different objects or trying to compare two different objects and see the possible combination between those two objects. You understand? So that's what blend usually do most times. So now it has created possible combinations between this color and this color. But I just want only extra two to add to the two that I have to have four. If I want more, I could also generate more. So I could come to this here where there's a blend tool here. You double click on it. You change this spacing to specified steps and change it to 2. So I need 2 extra colors. And I click on OK. And you could see the color variations that I have here. So I have 4 colors from just 2 colors that I have. If I want more, I could space them out so I have more space. Then I could go back to this and double click and change it to like maybe 4. Ensure this your preview is on so in case you can see, so in case you see the possible colors. So now you see I have how many colors with just 2 colors that have been created. So that's how to do.
Blend option.
So?
I did not get your blend option.
The blend.
Please rephrase it.
Okay, the blend option.
Yes.
Okay, now the blend helps you to find possible combinations between two objects. You understand? I have one.
I need to get the properties of the blend option.
Okay, it's here. It's on the toolbar. This is the toolbar here now. Yeah.
The blend.
Yes, you see blend here. Once you double click on the blend and you change this spacing to specified steps and impute the number of steps you want, 2 or 4. The more you impute, the more specified steps you have, the more options you will get. So I just want only 2, so I have 2 color palettes here. Then I could work on just picking them and adding them to. So I can add these colors now to my swatches. Something called the color swatch or the swatch panel. You can find it here if you come to Windows and you come to colors. You have the color here. The color here. Then I think there's swatches. Please let me go down and check. Yeah, there's something called swatches. Once you click on swatches, it gives you where colors are being kept. You could drag it and put it there, and it's like plenty of them. But for you to be able to add them individually into this part here, you have to change them into a normal shape, because now they are now a blend. So they are like one shape, but the blend of the shape. So now let's make them different shape. So you can come to Object, Expand Appearance, and from this Expand Appearance, you can drag them into here. You can add them, as a color group. When you add them, you have only 2. You have only 2 there because you only expand appearance. You're supposed to, after expanding appearance, you're supposed to expand it. So when you expand it, it asks you to change all the object to be an, to change all the fields to be an object. Even if there's strokes, yes, you change them everything into object. So you just press OK and they become here. So you can go to group, you can say practice, and you say OK. So you see them, all of them have been added to the color swatch. So they're added as individual colors to the color swatch. So that's one thing you can also do for that case. Then I think that's for working with colors. Now let's work, for colors, working with colors. So if you want to apply them, as you have this one here, you can come to the eyedropper here, which is close to the blend. Click on the eyedropper and choose the color you want it to be. So that's one thing with colors too. Let me create a new artboard. Okay, sorry. So that's in your artboard. So now let's talk on gradients and strokes. Click on that, go this side. So now for gradients, let's draw a shape, just a normal shape like this. And now for gradient and shapes and strokes, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be considering the 3 types of gradients that we have on Adobe Illustrator. Now, if you are, in case you don't see your gradients here, you can come to Windows and you can look for gradients and to give you the gradients panel here. Now we have the first type of gradient, which is the linear gradient, which just have 2 colors moving from one point to another. You can change the position or you can change the rotation of it, the angle of it. So you can change it to either 90 degrees, move from top to bottom, or maybe 0, moving from left to right. Now this is the color for this part, and this is the color for this part. So it's acting like a blend tool in this case. So I can change the color by double clicking on that point and going to my swatches. I can choose one of my colors, double click this point and come here. So I have 2 colors that are blending together. Now we have the radial gradient. Now the radial gradient is that it starts from the center and moves out. So you can use the gradient for a lot of things. For probably you want to create light rays and stuff like that. So when you choose that, it's going to start from the middle and spread out. So that's what the gradient does. Then there's one called the free form. The freeform gradient is that it creates points for you or lines. So you can either use the points or you can use the lines. But I prefer using the points instead of using lines. So in this case, let's stick to points. Now, points is that you can individually move colors to occupy a particular space within that object. So you could change this one here by double clicking, going to swatches, choose this guy. Go come here, double click, choose here, double click and choose here. So you have like up to 4 different colors and you can move them around to occupy a particular space and the degree they can occupy. If you want, you can scale them out. If you come down here, you can scale them out so they occupy more area. You understand? So that's how basically it works. So if you do like this, you could see that at that point it occupies more spaces or more areas. So that's one thing you can find out with gradients. Now let's scale this down. You can bring this up here. Now we have strokes. Now working with stroke most times is that the stroke is being applied on a particular object. So if you have an object that is drawn, so either maybe here, and you want to apply strokes, there's a stroke option here. You could use it to apply to either increase the stroke or reduce the stroke. You can also tweak it by clicking on the stroke here. It shows you more options for working it here. So all these ones are probably maybe advanced things that they're not advanced, they're supposed to be different. So you could make your stroke have curvy ends. So let's use lines. Let's draw a line. If you choose a curvy end here, it will make this part curvy. So you could see that this end here is now curvy. If you want it to be straight like that, it can also be straight. So all these ones are just corners for why these ones are the caps and these are the corners. These ones are grayed out, so they are the aligned stroke. If you want to align the strokes or stuff like that for angles or for corners like that. Then we can apply dashes to your stroke. Probably let's say reduce that. Let's have a shape instead of a line. Then we can apply dashes. Most times they do. Maybe that. Okay, sorry, it's because the strokes were too big. So we could increase there. The gaps could increase more gaps. So the higher the gaps, the more the spaces between each dash. So the gaps like that. So that's what you can do most times if you're working on these ones. Then you could also include points for the ends. So now for the arrowheads, you could introduce arrows or different shapes, maybe even hand pointing or something like that. And that one is there. You could also scale them to make the arrowhead much bigger or smaller, depending on what you want. Now, for the strokes, if you want your stroke to be a lot, let me remove the arrowhead, please. If you want your stroke to have kind of a curve, like a bend, you could apply any of these profiles to it. So you could apply and make it like this. You could apply it to change the shape to different. So these ones are just lines. These are different profiles that are being applied to lines, just lines. Or you could apply it to even shapes too. So in this case, you can also change the profile of this to like this. So one particular point is very thin, while the other point is a little bit fatter or bigger. So those ones also work too when you are working with strokes. Okay, let's select those two. So for the last part, we are going to be talking about layers and groups. Now, for your layer panel is usually found here. This part is your layer. In case you can't see it, you go to Windows and you go to layers. Your layers, that's your layers here. Then you have the layers. Now, in this case, I am working with all I'm working. All the three artboards are on one layer. I can decide to change it. If I want probably just this particular activity to be on one layer, I can add a layer here and drag everything into it, and also rename the layer by just normal double clicking. Just by double clicking, then I could say star,
Right.
and I could say okay, for the second one we had, I could drag it. I could create another layer also and drag it and say, and double click and say multiple shapes. Then create another layer and click here, include these guys and drag them here, and call that gradient and strokes.
But I can still group objects separately as layers. So.
Yes, you can group them as layers if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could say all these ones are assets. I have them grouped like this. Place them here, double click, and you see assets. So there's nothing on this layer here. If I want, I can delete it. So I have all of them that have been placed in different layers. So in case probably I'm working on a very large project, and maybe you have different artboards. Like there was a work I had up to like 30 something artboards. I could decide to just group them and just name them. And also when you are exporting, it will also help you when you are exporting. So if you go to files, and go to export, and you go to export for screen, the shortcut is Alt Control E or Control Alt E. If you click on that, you could see here that artboards and assets are here. So in this case, what we named was our layers and not our artboards. So if you are exporting you want to export or rename your layers or your artboards instead, but our layers here are already named already. If I want to name this artboard and call it star, I could come into this place called the artboard and click on it. The shortcut is Shift O, not 0, Shift O, and come to this part. And if I come to the right hand side, I could name it to star. Now this will help me that if I want to export, it will help me in my exporting. So when I go to export, you see automatically it should name. Automatically it should rename itself as star. Why it's not doing that? Sorry, Control Alt E. If you want to. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing like that, but normally it usually shows like that. But anyone, so you can name your artboard and you can choose the format, or you can choose the
JPEG 100 now.
Yeah, JPEG 100 is better, and then you can increase the scale to 2 times. Most times I export this in 2 times. If I want high resolution, I could go to 4 times. So that one also works too. Yeah, there's JPEG 2, JPEG 8 also too, but I use normal JPEG. Then JPG for I use normal PNG. Then for JPEG I use the JPG 100 when I'm exporting. Then for PDFs, probably for large format printing. But there's a problem most times if you're exporting with PDFs in Illustrator. I don't know, probably I've been having this issue. Is that for gradients, it just automatically turns them to solid shapes. So for PDF, so if you are exporting and you have a lot of gradients working on a particular artboard, export it in JPEG. It probably just increase the scale to accommodate it. Then send it as a document or something like that. So that one will also work. But PDF, if it's plain large format, you want to print a very large, probably banner or something like that, PDF is the best thing to use. So those ones are just the things that you should consider for those ones. So we have complete.
I will not use JPEG.
If you are using what?
If I want to print for like banner and flyer,
yeah,
would I use JPEG or PDF?
Use PDF. PDF is much better. It will help you to preserve the quality.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So that's
For
one.
Curvature, we use JPEG.
Okay, for Curvature, you guys use JPEG?
Yes, for Curvature, we use JPEG.
Yeah.
Sometimes we use PDF for paper, flyers.
Okay, so for banners, you use JPEG then?
Yes, we use JPEG.
Okay. So maybe that also work because I know most times when I do send it out for printing, the printer guys will tell me, please send it in JPEG. Don't stop. Maybe they have their reasons. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But even when I was working with the printing people, I usually give them in PDF for plain. But if I'm using gradients and there's a lot of effects, if there are a lot of effects, I do it in JPEG. Then I give it to them for printing. Yeah. So, is there any question? If you have any question or conclusion.
No, I don't have any question for now.
Okay. Sure. Okay, now, so I will send you the record. I will just finish the. I think is there any need to? Yes, I'll just edit it. Then I'll send it to you for. I'll send it to you by before 8, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
So when are we having our next class, sir?
That should be on Sunday.
Sunday, okay.
Yeah, Sunday, but it might not be a live one because it's Sunday. So I'll just send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Then, sir.
Recorded, yes.
Sir.
It might be recorded now.
Yes, it might be recorded. Then on Tuesday we'll have a live class. Then on Friday we'll also will be a live class too.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Now. Okay, take care of yourself then.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this, then you could subscribe and also share it to your friend, those who will need to learn one or two things about Adobe Illustrator for the next one. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys later.